Hey guys, Heidi Easler here, and we have Ruth. I just want to welcome you. Thank you so much for taking time out to be here.
I'm so excited to be here with you today. Yeah.
I'm excited you're here, and we have known each other now for quite a while. It seems like in the online world, even though we haven't met in person yet. Hopefully one day.
I know I came in the really early part of your teaching, offering things through Texas Art. And so I'm so glad I did. So glad I did. Yeah.
Oh, well, I'm
Yeah.
happy you're here now because we're going to talk to everyone just about paint parties, about the future of paint parties, about
Yeah.
where we see them, in person and online, because we know,
Mm.
as the world changes, we pivot, and we're creative business owners, so we pivot too. So, Ruth, if you want to
Absolutely.
just share first off what your business is and kind of how you got started and teaching paint parties, kind of before the paint parties, I guess.
Okay. Wow. Well, I'm going to give you the condensed version because that could take a day. But my business name is Fun Funky Fab Arts and Entertainment. And I started out basically like anything else that you don't think is going to lead you into something. But my kids were doing theater, and in theater, all the parents worked on the committee. They ended up putting me in the hair and costume committee because I had a background in the salon field. I was a licensed cosmetologist, so I had no problem doing that. Well, as I got jumped into that, they were doing a lot of airbrushing, and I thought, oh, I can do that, for stage. Um, so from that, I ended up offering face painting for ministries and things like that. And then people started asking me if they could pay me to come to a birthday party or whatever. Um, and the bottom line is, no matter what your creative juice is that lands in your hand, when it lands in your hand and you find joy in it, that's the biggest thing. If you're finding joy, I don't care if you're making pillows, I don't care if you're what it is. If it's bringing you joy and it's bringing life to you, to what your heart needs, what your spirit needs,
Mhm.
then just keep doing it. So anyway, I am self-taught, so I started just watching things on YouTube, and I started with like 4 paint colors for face painting, and it just grew. But when I was in the salon, I realized now that when I was in the salon field, I really enjoyed nail art. So if you can imagine doing art on a nail bed, so I would do entire beach scenes or things like that on a nail bed. And
Oh
so I
man,
didn't
I like
realize,
to paint big. I would freak
yeah.
out.
And I guess that's my glimpse of God was preparing me for whatever else just comes my way. So I started out doing face painting, and then it just organically grew. We started offering things like character appearances, um, and then I just started offering paint parties because I started going back. I was sharing a story with someone when they asked me about just some different hard times in my life, and I had realized after I had sent my son overseas for the third time, homeschooling a child with special needs, realizing I had some just depression issues and different things like that, challenges, I started to realize the thing that held me together was my faith, without a doubt, holding firmly onto God's hand. And then at the time we were remodeling this house. Well, I didn't realize that all the painting of these rooms with faux finishes and brick, faux brick and all that. That was part of my healing journey. I didn't even know it at the time. So now that I'm looking back, 12, 15 years ago, that was part of what was keeping me just to a place of peace where I could, get to bed and want to wake up and get out of bed the next day. So to make a long story short, I started out in the salon field doing nails, ended up on a committee for costuming and hair and makeup and things like that. But it organically grew into other things. And I really have found doing the painting parties, man, it brings so much life to people. And I think what I love the most is seeing people come together. They automatically, you can tell that they're excited to do it, but they also have this fear. And then you see the progression of how they're reacting and responding to your instructions, and they're looking back. And I don't know, I could talk a lot just about that, but one of the things that I do in my paint parties, usually when we're almost done, just about done, I ask them to, I say, I give them this little joke kind of thing. And I said, okay, you know how we're used to looking at our makeup and we look at it right here. We look at it like 12 inches away. I say, first of all, we're supposed to look at least an arm's length away, and I have them extend their arm. And I tell, yep, just like that, just like you're going to do a selfie, right? And I trust me, if someone's this close to your face, girl, they ain't interested in your makeup. They're there for something else, okay? So I always tell them this joke because it's true. If someone's that close to your face, girlfriend, they ain't interested in your makeup. So I tell them to step back, and take a look at their makeup at the right distance. And I said, now I'm going to have you stand up from your chair, take about, 3 steps away from if you have space, a couple of steps back, and take a look at your picture that, your design that you've gotten so far. And I said, can you see it coming together right away? The expressions on their face, the tone in their voice, you can see them going, oh my gosh, I did that. Like they're in the 3rd grade almost, look at what I did.
I love
Hi,
that.
honey. Sorry. Honey just got home for lunch. So anyway, and then I asked them to take a walk around the room. I said, look at this. It's just like a recipe. You can have your aunt's recipe, your grandma's recipe. Everyone makes it differently. I said, I want you to walk a room and look at the same design and how many variables you're going to find in the design. And they get so encouraged by that. Mm-hmm. So now they're going from, oh, I can't do this. This is going to be impossible, to look at how different they are, because we all are different, right? We're going to process things differently. And they just feel so much more encouraged with their result and where they're at. And so glad that they did it anyway, So that's one of the things that that I do in my parties. And I've had little parties that have been 6 people, and I have had parties that are close to 30 people. But there's so many takeaways from it. I guess the one thing that surprises me the most is how much joy I get out of seeing their responses and how it's connecting for them. I've also had a story where a woman was sitting next to me in the area that I was painting or leading the group, and this woman just stopped. She just stops in her tracks, and you could just see the defeat in her face, and she puts her hands on her lap and she just says, I'm not doing it. I'm not gonna do it. I can't do it. Well, that told me right away that had nothing to do with the painting. This had something to do with something in her life. Mm-hmm. She already has areas in her life where she's already struggling. Who knows what they could be? Mm-hmm. I can't imagine what they could be. I know what it's like to have a lot of hard things going on in your life and push through it. I've also known what it's like to have hard things going on in your life where it totally stifles you and you feel like you can't move or even breathe. So anyway, I'm seeing her do that. And, I put my hand on her shoulder, and I'm encouraging, and I'm saying, what is it that you don't like about it? So she points out a few things. And I said, I want you to pick up your brush. And I basically started taking her step by step. Even though everyone was already ready to move on, mm-hmm. I just took it, exhaled my breath, and I thought, okay, I'm going to ask them to just kind of hold on for a moment. I instructed them, this is a great time to maybe run the bathroom, order another drink. Mm-hmm. I tutored her, if you will, and encouraged her for a few more steps. She starts sharing all kinds of painful things going on in her life. And I just stopped her and said, I'm so glad you're here. I'm so, so very glad that you're here. And I said, but you can do this. There's a lot of hard things that you can do that you haven't seen that you can do, but you could do this. That was a small thing. I mean, she was a grown woman. I'm going to guess she was, middle-aged, maybe 50. But it warmed my heart that I was able to encourage her. She ended up leaving and contacted me a few days later, just thanking me personally. But, people need what we have. People need what we have. And again, I've had small parties. I've had larger parties. But they need what we have because it brings people together and it takes them to a place that they didn't know they needed. Mm-hmm. I had a gal who reached out to me and said she was having girls from her a sorority group come together at her house. It was going to be a smaller group, like 8 women. Of course, that was the same weekend we got this huge snowstorm. So I think 6 of them were able to actually catch their flight and make the drive and everything. because they went to school in Kansas, she asked me to create a design for them. We did something that was related to the Wizard of Oz, excuse me. And when they got done, or when I showed them, when I showed them the inspiration piece, 3 of the girls started crying. They started literally crying. We hadn't done one thing, Heidi.
Wow.
But they said that time that they had in school, before kids, before health challenges, before so many different things in life, it took them to this place where life was so simple and life was so good. So we get done doing the painting. I said, what would be a fun thing you guys could do is on the back of your frames, along the wood portion of the frame, you guys could do a little signing, almost like you do in your yearbook,
Yes.
They loved it. They loved that idea. And that, I know the Lord gave me that idea when I was there, because I've never done that. I never would have thought of that.
Yeah.
But anyway, I say all that to say, it doesn't matter about the size of group you're doing. It really doesn't. Am I glad it creates income? Absolutely. Am I glad that it's helped my family out tremendously? Tremendously. Absolutely. But does that mean this is all about what I get out of it? Not at all.
Mm-mm.
Not at all. It really isn't. And
Man.
yeah.
That's so powerful. Like so a lot of times, people think that like when you're teaching a paint party, it's all about standing at the front of the room. You give the instruction, you wait. You give the instruction, you wait. You give the instruction, you wait, right? Where
Right.
I'm like the opposite. My job is like, I'll show you how to do the step, and then I'm making my rounds. I'm helping.
Yes.
It reminds me that because you were attentive and because you saw that lady. Again, that's the whole point of this. Like I feel like my mission is sharing God's love through art, and paint parties is a process of a part of that. And Ruth, what you showed is, yes, it's a paint party and it's silly and fun and all these things, but that lady needed somebody to notice her. That lady needed somebody just to see that she was hurting at that moment, and you took the time to do that, and that means so much. That's more than what you're worth what you're getting paid. Like, you're helping people.
It really is. And again, this started, or I should say not started, but years ago when things were starting, I didn't know where it was going to go. All I know was I was enjoying it, whether it was face painting. I enjoyed what I was doing. And now I never expected that one day I was going to be at a birthday party doing face painting, and a parent brings a little girl to me, and they were guiding her by the hand. They sit her down, and she's saying, "What are we going to do?" So I realized then she was visually impaired. So the mom's explained, "We're going to do face painting on you." And right away, the Lord gave me an image, a design for her that I'd never done, never practiced. It was just from the Lord, and I went with it. So I told her it's going to feel cold. I put the brush to her face, Heidi, and she puts her hand on top of my hand.
Aww.
And her mom is going, "Oh, honey, let go. You don't want to interrupt what she's doing." And I said, "No, she's totally fine." So I moved her hand farther down my wrist. I continued to paint. She says, "Mom, look, I'm painting." Did I expect that day? No.
Mm-mm.
Who got more out of that day? That was probably, 4 or 5 years ago. She may never have painted before in her life. I say that to say it doesn't matter how much we think we're prepared or how good we are. Or I'm not a trained artist. I haven't been to art school. I don't know theory. And I actually make that part of my joke when I introduce myself. I say I'm a trained artist. So we're going to use really fancy words such as we're going to whoosh this together, and we're going to block this here and blend it. And oh my gosh, I did not think I was going to share that story. But I let people know I never claimed to be amazing as an artist, but I'm here, hopefully bring you some joy, take something, give you an exciting time that you maybe birth a passion that you didn't even know you had an interest in.
Yes.
A few weeks ago, I was doing a party for a realtor that I reached out to using your simple script, which I didn't change. I wish I could say, I'm so amazing, and I came up with this awesome script. That wouldn't be real. I don't lie that well. Uh, but you gave me this awesome script. I reached out to some people. Anyway, I was at this event. She had, I think, like 18 people there. Were one of the people there had been a graphic designer years ago. She ended up, kind of wiggling her way into a different field. But during that time of art, she was the last one to leave, basically. Everyone was done. She was the last one to leave. And she said, I have to have you at our office party. You've got to come do this for our office party. She goes, I forgot how much joy painting brings me and blah, blah, blah. And she truly said, she goes, I guess I forgot.
Yeah.
I forgot how much I needed creativity in my life. So anyway, you never know what you're going to get out of it. And the one thing I would encourage people about is if you have an interest, you don't have to wait until you know it all.
Right.
I mean, I've been part of your group for, I'm going to guess, about 2 years. I had done a few, like I said, I was already busy with my other business. So I would start tapping around and playing around with this idea, here and there. And for a while, I was just doing some of your tutorials and stuff for myself to enjoy. That's really what I was doing. But then I knew I wanted to do it. And I just started, offering it to other people to do it. But this is no different than anything else. I was in cosmetology 100 years ago. And you do all these hours, right? You do all these hours, clinical and theory, and then you go on the floor and you actually work on people. But it's not until you're in the salon and that you're in the salon putting in, as they say, part of your 10,000 hours, that you really understand a lot of the ins and outs and a lot of the shortcuts and things like that, or things to avoid, things to enhance. It's like that with anything. But don't wait until you know it all. We're wasting what God wants to do with us and through us if we wait until we have to know it all. And that would be my biggest takeaway in anything. If you love to sing, just find opportunities to sing. It doesn't matter if they're going to pay you or not. Just find opportunities to sing. I don't care if you're just singing the national anthem, at the elementary school, in the church basement for, a woman's retreat. It doesn't matter. You can't go on to bigger things if you don't start where you are with what you have. And you give us so much to start with. I mean, that's the craziest thing is you give us so much. We're not going empty-handed.
There's tools.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah. Okay. So I just got to back up to that story about you and that girl. Because I am a true believer that, God gives each of us gifts, and we have the right to choose to use them or not use them. And you talked a lot about how, just use your gifts, even if you're, you want to sing, go sing somewhere, sing in a basement, sing whatever. And it's so true. Like you are going to learn, I can teach you everything there is to know about paint parties, online paint parties, art kits, doing Facebook Lives, all of these logistic things. I can teach you until I'm blue in the face. Yeah. But when you do your first online paint party or you do your first in-person paint party, you are going to learn so much. And then when you step up to the plate, it's almost like I use this thing, like, I'm like, put me in, God, put me, even though I'm scared, like, put me in,
Yes.
because, I'm terrified, we're all terrified doing anything new. But I mean, that story brought tears to my eyes. I will remember that forever. Like the people watching this, that story is going to hit home with them. And if you wouldn't have taken the risk, the being scared that you weren't good enough, being afraid that you don't have your degree, which I don't have my art degree either, just so everybody knows. All of those things, if you wouldn't have taken that, you would have never had that moment. And I mean, I know you were getting paid for that, but who cares about the money? When it's something
at that point,
Who cares?
No, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter at all. And you know what? And when you said doing things scared or being a risk taker, first of all, being a risk taker drives my family nuts. Uh, I've just gotten used to it. But on the other hand, I've actually, one of the things that I've learned along just my life journey is that working on personal development, which I didn't understand how I went through half of my life without it. I'm surprised I had a pulse, at 25 without knowing about personal development. Um, but one of the things I read through a really small book by Ed Milet, and he's one of my heroes, is, he talks about if you're not doing things that give you butterflies,
Mhm.
you're basically gotten to a very stagnant place. You've gotten to a place where you will only live out of your comfort zone, where he's talking about, get comfortable chasing things that bring you butterflies. Now, I'm not talking about things like playing on the highway, not things like that. No, but things that I'm going to do it scared, even though I have peace about doing it. You can certainly have peace about doing something, but you have butterflies because it's your first time, or maybe I'm not that good, or I might stumble with my words, or who knows how I'm gonna look on camera. Notice I keep fixing my hair, things like that. Whatever it is, right?
The shiny spots.
Right. Chin up. So all of those things. But if honestly, I know for me, if I've had a week or something where I don't have that butterfly feeling in my stomach, whether it's a phone call, a follow-up, a conversation that
Mhm.
I need to have, then I've gotten used to that comfort zone. And I know that's not where God can use me the most.
Right.
So, yeah, just do it afraid. Do it afraid and do it over and over again.
Yes, it's so true, Ruth. Like there's so many people that, I mean, I think a lot of times people are, I know I'm going to say this word wrong. I always say words wrong. Deterred. I think that's
Yeah,
right. A lot of times people are
yeah,
deterred from success because they have to get out of their comfort zone in order to grow, in order to move to that next step. And when we get out of, like, for example, I've been really pushing everyone in Paint Party headquarters to do Facebook Lives, which I've
yeah.
been saying it for 2 years, just letting y'all know. I've been saying it
Oh
forever.
no, you have. This is nothing new.
It's like now finally people are like, oh, maybe I should do that Facebook Live, but I have been telling y'all to do that. And so now that people are finally starting to do it, they're like, they do it. And then they're like, oh my gosh, that was terrifying. I don't know if I can ever do that again. But it's so true. You cannot grow unless you get out of your comfort zone. And does it feel good getting out of our comfort zone? Never. It never feels
Never.
good. I mean, anytime we're starting stuff new, it always has that, like, it's that self-preservation mode of like, well, this is all good,
Yes. And I'm
like,
so comfy here,
yes,
doing
I got
staying where I've been.
my heated blanket and I don't want
Abs-
to.
Absolutely. But it's like anything else. It comes with the more you do anything.
Yeah.
Um, the quality comes based on the quantity that you've put into it.
Mhm.
And so, I don't know. Like you've said, this is nothing new. I plan on actually doing my Facebook Live this afternoon. Uh, so
Yeah.
I know I'm so excited. Um, or at least I'm going to do it on your page with the gals there. But it's like anything else. It's just like let it water you almost like
Mhm.
just trust the process. I say that a lot in my classes actually, to trust the process. And I said there's nothing that we can't fix. There's nothing that we really can't fix. And I think if you just go into that with that mentality and that understanding, you can just find joy in a lot of the little things if you take that mentality to, you know, to challenges. And I also know that I know within my knower
Yeah.
that I was never designed. It's just not my personality. It's not my bent in life. For me personally, I was not designed to be an observer of the things that I know bring me joy.
Mhm.
I'm not supposed to just sit back and wait.
Mhm.
So if,
Yeah.
if I'm in I don't know, stub my little toe on something, it doesn't mean I'm not going to try to walk again.
Yes. Oh my
Um,
gosh. I love
and
you said
some people, they can easily get, hurt or feel afraid. And I can't do anything about that for them. I can try to encourage them and let them know, look, hey, I'm almost going to be 60. And I think about,
that. You're looking good, girl.
thank you. But I often think about how many people um, are busy living their life based on their routines that get them nowhere. They complain. And I'm not going to stay on that subject for too long, because we all can have some time like that, a season.
Oh yeah.
But, you just blink. And I feel like I literally just blinked and I was, 40. And I'm so glad I stumbled upon you. I'm so glad that I started just implementing, some of the things that you were showing us, strategies and tips and tricks. And I love how real you are, both on camera and, when you're saying, and like the fact that you're saying, I always stumble over my words. You know how many people can't even, they don't have the strength or vulnerability to be that transparent.
Mhm.
Okay. But because you've been transparent with so many things, the painful things in your life, the things that brought you joy, the things that have allowed you to help other people and helped you as a person grow, because you've been willing to share that, we now have such an arsenal that we can take to the world.
Mhm.
We can take it anywhere,
Yeah.
and we can take it and share it in ways that you would never, ever know. When God started showing me a few months ago how I had to be prepared, I would never have known that we were going to be in this pandemic.
Nobody.
Um,
Nobody
and
would
I
have
don't know,
guessed
like
that.
when this is going to, air. But yeah, I think we're the third week of pandemic. I don't even know. I feel like I'm still in March. I think we're in April.
We're on March 47th, technically.
Yeah, basically, it feels like March 47th. You're true.
Yeah.
You're right. You're absolutely right. Um, but I just received an email 2 days ago by a school. It's a private, like kids live on campus at this school, and they're kind of for kids that have had hardships and things like that in their life. Well, I've been in contact with them since last fall. Even though it wasn't something they were interested in, I just kept in touch with them, thinking of you, blah blah blah. Well, they just reached out to me and asked me if I would teach virtual paint parties with an S, different subjects every week.
This is
I
what I'm
mean,
telling you, people. There's so much opportunity.
there is so much opportunity.
Oh,
There's plenty of people out there, so it doesn't matter who else in your area or who else is on Facebook offering it. People are going to do business with who they know, like, and trust.
yes.
When I kept contact with this, school, I was connecting, I was building rapport, I was building relationships. Did I hope that they would call me at some point? Absolutely. Uh, I would have never thought it was going to go into this. But
Right.
anyway, my point is, there's a lot of business out there. Um, and you don't have to feel limited because, yes, there's a lot of people doing things online now, but they're not you. People are going to connect to your personality. People may stop and watch me because I have black hair and they have black hair. I don't know. They may stop because I don't know. They like my t-shirt. You never know why someone's watching. But anyway, my point is there's a lot of work out there. A lot of people are looking for what we need. And whether it's a pop-up and you do something really quick one time, or it's someone that wants you to come, for a number of different, offering a number of different things for them, there's just lots of opportunity.
There's so much opportunity. And I want to just go back for a minute to, like, you talked about like the self development and stuff like that. So here's
Yeah.
the thing, like, I didn't stumble upon that until my, like, probably mid 30s or
Okay.
maybe or early 30s. So I'm 40 now. So I didn't even know that those were things. Like, I was just going through, just going through life. Like, I didn't realize there were so many resources to help us do this, And then
Yeah.
once I started realizing, oh my gosh, these books, these podcasts, these,
Yes.
things that were helping me, Because, teaching a paint party, yes, there's logistical things. Yes, there's certain things that, I can show you, but it's not rocket science. I mean, when we really think about it, like it's not, it's not brain surgery, right? We're teaching
Yes.
step-by-step painting. But the mindset part of, can I do this? All of that, I think that is the biggest hiccup that I see with people, is they are just so afraid of that. And so what has really, like you talked about, getting butterflies, and pushing yourself, what has been, and I've heard this from some of my mentors, they're like, the biggest part of running a business is the self-growth, the growth that you're going to have in yourself. And that's the part that gives me butterflies. It's like, okay, what if I did this, and what can happen? And like, what if, I wasn't just, I never knew an online world existed until, 5 or 6 years ago. And now I'm like, oh my gosh, there's so many people out there that you can help, and that, not only help, but, it helps your family in return. And there's just so much. And I think, there was a lady, and I don't want to say who it was, but she was so frustrated because she couldn't figure out how to log in. And she just, wanted her money back, and she was done because she couldn't log in, and blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, oh my gosh, if this is your biggest challenge right now, and you're wanting to run a business, and you're not taking a moment to go, okay, I'm having a struggle. Let me get through this. Let's figure this out. There's no way for you to run a business if you're upset about the login process. And I'm saying that not to be mean, but I'm saying that that's when you need to get a podcast in your ear. That's when you need to listen to a Joyce Meyer about attitude. Like, that's when you need to like do some of the self-help work that's going to make you become this person that goes, okay, it's a challenge, it's a struggle, but I'm going to figure it out anyway. And yes, it's frustrating as hell. I know that. But you have got to push through those things if you want to see the success, because that comes back to that comfort thing. If we all just sit in like our warm heated blankets, which I carry with me everywhere, like Charlie Brown, if we all sit with our warm heated blanket and never step out of that comfort zone, we're never going to see these big pushes in our life, or these big things. And then the last thing I wanted to share was what you were talking about. You had been reaching out to this place and following up forever. Well, and then you ended up booking not one, not two, but it sounds like several. The same thing has happened to me. So, I'm a person who, I am never going to sit here and say, you go do art kits, you do virtual paint parties, you do paint parties, and then I'm not doing them. So as fast as my parties got canceled from the pandemic, as fast as I started rescheduling with virtual, with, art kits, doing the same thing. Because I always want to have my finger on the pulse, because if I'm teaching you, I want to be able to say, okay, I'm doing this personally in my own life too. Well, what was so crazy, Ruth, and this is happening to you, and I'm sure it's happening to other people who are doing this, the places that, I'd already taught at, the country clubs that usually schedules once a quarter, we just booked 4 parties. I'm delivering kits and Zoom meeting links for 4 events over the next 2 months, which normally is once a quarter. And these are full paid paint parties. And I'll have the head count tomorrow night, and we'll deliver them all. And then we have another country club or it's a community center that not only is she doing a minimum of $400 for me to deliver kits, which, depending on when you're watching this, make sure you're following your county's rules and stuff like that. If you're doing kits, but she referred me to another huge event who's paying it all in full, just giving me a check and just giving me a head count number. And I mean, it's like God opens up these opportunities, but if you don't act on them, you're never going to see the fruit,
Yes. And you know what, the key to that, like you said, just because you're hiding doesn't mean you're not going to have things canceled. The pandemic didn't happen only in one area of the country, right? It's equal opportunity changes. Okay. One thing you and I have similarly in common is financial loss. Okay.
We've been there. We felt it. We know.
Yes, we have felt that. And so because of that, one of the things that I've taken on that the Lord has really given me is there's always a way. A, there's always a way to make something happen. And B, never rely on one source.
Right.
I mean, I should say, other than him,
Yes.
never rely on one like income source.
Mm-hmm.
So, for example, my company started just out as being face painting. It was Fun, Funky, Fab. Fun, Funky, Fab because I'm fun, I'm funky, and I'm so fabulous.
Of course, that's fine.
Absolutely. But honestly, we changed it to arts and entertainment because it evolved into a number of other things. Well, because it evolved, I've done a number of other art related things under that umbrella.
Yes.
So if one area slows down, I have another one, or I have another one. I've actually 5 different courses of income or revenues of income under that name. Okay. Now, if I had stayed under one thing, I'm not saying I would be destitute and starving. However, would I be feeling the challenges? Absolutely. Um, I love, like, you said that you were willing to pivot and go with things. I was feeling that once I started having that financial loss, and this is my hope, this is my prayer for everyone, that you don't have to go through that. I would do anything to know that other people don't have to go through the extremes that we have gone through to have that loss. But trust me, you don't want to wait until your job fires you. I'm sure the heartache for all of these companies that want to keep their employees, receiving an income, a check every week or every 2 weeks, and they're in no position to even have an option with that right now. But my point is, you don't want to wait. You don't want to wait on, even though you do have a great job, or maybe you just enjoy your job, just start, honing and enjoying some of this creative time for yourself. If nothing else, just for yourself, for your family. You can offer it at your family reunion at some point when we're allowed to come out of our homes. But, start growing something to have as a plan B, have as a plan C, because anything can happen to any one of us at any time, at any time. And so I know the country club, they're going to be so excited because you're doing something for them that they can't do for their, they can't invite people to come in and enjoy their facilities, enjoy their banquet halls or any of their events that they already had, planned. So yeah, it can be a win-win. Mm-hmm. Really, really can.
And I mean, those of y'all out there doing paint parties, you think, oh my gosh, my in-person events got canceled. Well, guess what? Now with virtual, you are not bound by a tiny place. You're not bound by limits of people. Like because the lady asked me, she's like, well, could you teach like 50 at a time? I'm like, I could teach 1,000 of you. Like literally it's online. Yeah. It's unlimited.
And you know what, quite honestly, I really needed the push for the virtual. I really did. I'm late to the dance,
You're not late. You're perfect.
All this electronic stuff, it's always been a challenge, and I just kind of laughed it off. But I'm really glad that it's put me in that position where it pushes me out of the boat, where it's urging me to do this sooner rather than later. And quite honestly, depending how this goes, I may want to do, less person-to-person ones when I do them. And I've also just loved that, I have family in different states, and they see some of my postings of my events, and they'll say things like, oh, I wish I could come to your events. Well, guess what?
Now you can.
So yeah, it's all a matter of your perspective. It's all a matter of your perspective. And you make it so easy. You make it so stinking easy.
Thank you.
Again, you really, really do. I mean, you've had this desire on your heart to take all this information, not only information, experience. First of all, you can't pay for experience. You cannot pay for experience. You're sharing your experiences, the highs, the lows, plenty of the lows, right? How to tweak it, how to do it better. You give us all of that. So we're not going empty-handed. I know I've said that before, but I feel, actually, I have had times where I thought, okay, Heidi, all right, what are we going to order today before we start our paint party if I'm going to eat? It's like, well, Heidi's here. And I think, Heidi's with me. She's with me. She's driving with me in my car. She's
Yeah.
telling me, do it scared. She's telling me, have fun. She's telling me all these things. And I feel like I have a partner in crime with you. I feel
Link
like
the
I have,
arm.
yep, we're locking arms. Literally, like you're locking arms, you're saying, we're going to go through this together. If I fall down, you'd be like, oh, I'm so sorry you fell. Are you ready to get up? Because I'm ready to pull your arm up, girl. Let's get up. But seriously, that is how I feel when I'm going out. And the only way we're going to get better is by going out. So I know I'm repeating myself. That's just the way I talk. I like to loop around to make sure we covered it, but yeah, it's, you know what, there's so many things. There's just so many things that we can grow into. I love the process of who I'm becoming as I grow more and more in this business.
Yes.
I feel like my life is being designed as I'm doing all of this, which I never thought that would be part of the process. I thought the design is the design. I thought the design was these things that I have, back here,
Yeah.
No, I didn't realize how much of my own personal story is being designed by the day-to-day things that I do within Paint Party business. And I love it.
It's great. Yeah. And I think too, like, like going through bankruptcy, like, we've both felt that, financial hurt. But I have to say, at the time, it didn't feel like it, but it was one of the best things that happened to us. And I know that sounds so weird, but it really taught me so much about, it's what birthed the surfboard business, which ended up, giving me this, like, unshakable confidence of, like, God's got me. It's made me realize God's the ultimate provider, even through what we're going through now. It's kind of set it back down where, yeah, Heidi, you're doing great. But remember, this can all be taken away in a heartbeat, and it always,
and it's not as though you're going to forget that, because you can't forget that it all could be taken away. But, it goes back to that saying that I've heard by so many people, that things happen for you. You don't have to see that, but if you did, oh my gosh, the things that can be birthed out of our pain. God wants to take our ashes and make it into something beautiful. He really does. It's a matter of us willing to give it back to him and say, okay, what do you want me to grow into from this? What do you want me to learn from this? What do you want me to take away? And again, it can be any kind of pain, any kind of hurt. It can be financial, it could be physical, it could be emotional, it could be mental. We all know people, or we are that person who's had pain, who's had heartache, who's had disappointments. And it sucks when you're in it.
Oh yeah. We're not saying it does.
I'm not saying it doesn't.
It does.
I'm not trying to sugarcoat it. I'm not trying to sugarcoat it. But I also know that God is faithful. He is who he said he is. I'm not just going to believe part of the Bible and ignore the rest of it. He is faithful. And if we believe that, we truly believe that, and we trust him in the process, it's amazing. It's just amazing what can happen to our life, for our life, and what we can do for other people through all of that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. I never thought I'd be openly in front of tens of thousands of people online sharing my ultimate failure of going broke, bankrupt, and losing everything. I never thought that, but it's like, Dana, one of our members in Paint Party headquarters, she mentioned the other day during one of our meetings, she said, the things that happen to us are so that we can help somebody else go through them. And I thought that was so powerful, because I'm like, oh my gosh, we've been there, and yes, it sucked. And we're not saying like, sometimes you can't immediately get back up. Like it took me,
Yes.
months to get out of my sadness and depression from that. And again,
Yes.
it took years to even see like, oh my gosh, God was letting me use art to heal. Oh my gosh, God let me start a business to heal. Like all these things,
Yes.
and the
And
same
that's
thing.
and that's okay too, to feel those things. Absolutely, we're supposed to
Yeah.
feel them, go through them, process that, and and take as long as you need to do that. But I can tell you what, um, if you've had a child who's had, I don't, mental illness,
Mm-hmm.
and your family has gone through that, do you think you can't connect to another family who's gone through that, who's going through that, who it's a reality in their life? If you've helped care for an aging parent and the challenges that come with that, the heartache and come with that, you think you can't connect with another family who's going through that? God wants to use everything that we've gone through to be an anchor for someone else. It was never designed for me to hoard it.
Right.
And that kind of pain, you can connect with people, and it can be that beautiful thing where, yes, you can go through life holding on to pain and holding on to joy at the same time, and walking together into dark places,
Yeah.
and still being a light. But that's the beauty of just life in anything. It has, not only in paint parties, but just in life, is how are we going to connect heart to heart with other people? How can we make a difference for them, and then in return, grow and continue to grow into something that God had originally designed for us to do and to be. And
Yeah.
I could go on talking about that forever.
I know, I know, I know. I just love everything you're saying. And I think it's so true that people have to remember, like, you know, God's not looking for the perfect person that has it all together to be that, to be that. I mean, if that was true, I would not, believe me, I would not be in this position, because I mean, yeah, there's a lot of stuff I don't even share, and I share a lot.
Yeah.
There's just, he's not looking for that. He's looking for somebody who can, that's not perfect. And I think that's why I'm like, I just want to shake some of you, because I'm like,
Yeah.
there's so much opportunity. And when you do have those failures, like we all have times in our life, like it's not a matter of if you have a tragedy in your life, or if you have a sickness, or if you have it. It's a matter of when. We
Yes.
all are going to have sickness, tragedy, financial issues. Like we're all susceptible to that stuff.
Yes.
Even if we take the best care of our health. You hear of runners who are marathon runners and they die of a heart attack. Like, who would have thought the healthiest runner would have that happen? But it does not, we're not immune to that. And I think
Absolutely.
so many times we think, well, we're not good enough. Well, we're not this person. Who am I to say that, do this, share this, whatever. But then it's like, you've got to remember, it's not about you. Like, it's not about you. It's about God, and how we can share God's love through what we're doing. And when you're putting a Facebook Live on and painting, and you're able to connect to somebody differently than I am, because my stories are different than Ruth's stories, or
Sure.
Ruth's stories are different than so-and-so's stories.
Yeah.
That's when you can really make a difference. So I just want to say thank you so much for taking so much time to share your heart, to share your stories, because I know it's going to make a difference, and that's what it's all about. So any final words of wisdom you want to leave anybody?
Because I do repeat myself, I'm going to go back and repeat something I said earlier.
We may need to hear
Don't
it.
wait. Don't wait. We can get stuck in, I'm getting ready to, get ready to, quote. And especially if you got a little hint of procrastination, not that I do, and I'm sure you don't either,
No.
not at all. But if you have a little bit of that, and coupled with a little bit of fear, but you won't actually call it fear, be honest with yourself. Write things down. What's stopping me?
Right.
What's stopping me? And then after you look at it, put an X through it and say, that's a lie.
Yeah.
A lie from the pit of hell, because there's this enemy who would like nothing more than to shut your voice, to shut your dream, and to stifle your purpose.
Mm-hmm.
So do it afraid. Don't wait until you know it all, or if you feel you know it all, because like I said, you got to put in the hours. You just got to put in the time and do it imperfectly, and that's okay.
Yeah.
It's okay.
You'll get better as you go. And it's so
That's
true.
right.
So
Yeah.
true. I mean, I love that because this is just that this isn't just about paint parties, people. Like this is just
Oh
in
no,
general.
no,
Like,
no.
if you want to, if you want to sing, if you want to garden, if you want to knit, if you want to paint, I mean, half of the fun of life is figuring out, trying 100 things and figuring out the one or two things you really love. Like sometimes
Yes.
people think, well, I did that and I was a failure at it and I hated it. Like I hate hiking and my husband loves it. I'm trying to like it, but I don't. And so,
Because you love him, you're trying to like it.
I love it.
I
So
get it.
I'll try it, but this sucks. Like my heart rate's like 145 and I'm going down, and we're walking. And so I just, half the battle of life is trying the things you don't like, don't count it as failures. Count it as like, check, I don't want to do that. I do
Yeah.
like this, so
Yes.
I love your attitude about life. And I think too, like, yeah, we're going to get knocked down, but the faster we can get back up and go at it again, the faster we're going to not sit in our failure and the faster we're going to be able to get to the things we really want to do. So, okay. So lastly, share, where again, they can find you so they can go show you some love on your Facebook page.
Oh, that would be great. So my Facebook page is Fun Funky Fab Arts and Entertainment.
Okay.
And usually on the picture, you're going to see one picture that's got some characters because we do character appearances. And then you'll see something related to paint parties as well. And I would love for you to go in there, like us, share our page, just give us some love. That would be great.
Okay, so go to Fun Funky Fab Arts and Entertainment if y'all don't mind, and just give her a like, a follow, and maybe leave a comment on something you think that's really cool on her page.
Yeah, and I'm also on Instagram, except I couldn't even tell you exactly how that is on there because someone else takes care of that for me. But yeah, we're on Instagram as well as Fun Funky Fab Arts and Entertainment.
Oh, awesome. Yeah, so y'all can go follow her on Instagram as well. Oh, this has been awesome. Thank you so much, Ruth. And I just really appreciate your time for being here.
This has been a pleasure for me. You're one of my sheroes.
Aww.
So I do wonder why you don't have a superhero cape on, though. I don't know. Well, no capes. So anyway, thank you so much for just giving me this opportunity, and look forward to meeting you in person because I know I will.
Yes, I know. One day it's gonna happen. I feel like
it's on my vision board. So
there we go.
Oh yeah, so it's happening.
There we go. Are you coming to Dollywood?
Last time I checked, it was full.
So you're on the wait list.
I'm on the wait list. And actually, the crazy thing about that is, 2 seconds, is okay. So many things in my life, the Lord showed me a picture or a word about it before it happened, and that's literally 50 times that's happened in my life. 2 days before you announced it, I was cleaning the bathroom, literally cleaning the bathroom. And the Lord said to me, Dollywood. And I thought, oh yeah, that would be awesome. Sure, I'll go to Dollywood. I had no idea what that meant. And then you announced it. I was stinking, oh my gosh, I was having this party. So just like, yes, that's what it was. Awesome. And now I'm on a wait list. So that means I already know I'm going to be called on that wait list, because why would you have told me the vision of it if I'm not going? So.
Oh my gosh, that is crazy. Yeah. So
yeah.
For those of y'all that don't know, Paint Party Business Live, we do it once a year, and we sold out of 120 tickets in 10 hours. It was
crazy.
Madness. I mean, I would have never in a while. I was thinking if I can get these tickets sold in 6 months, I'd be happy. And it was like 10 hours. I was like, what the heck? And so, yeah, so now we have a wait list. So, oh man, yeah, we'll work our way through if there's cancellation.
That's all right.
So I feel
and I'm excited. I am excited. Everything will be back in place. Life as we know it will continue to spin at that time. And it's going to be a great time.
Oh, it's going to be such a fun party. I can't.
Yes.
I feel like it's going to be this fun, art, creative. Oh, it's just so cool.
I know. Right.
Well, thank you again so much for being here. And everybody, please, if you want to just leave us a comment, maybe your biggest takeaway, something that you're struggling with that we can help you with. And make sure to go like her page, Ruth's page on Fun, Funky, Fab, Arts and Entertainment. I think I got it.
You got it. Did
All
great.
right. Thank you guys, and we'll talk to you soon. Bye.
Bye-bye.